everyone, and welcome to the 16th episode of Point of View, a series of leadership discussions by amazing workplaces. In this series, I'm getting into a discussion with people in leadership positions from various organizations spread across India as well as across borders. The idea is to get into conversation with them to get them to share their views about the various aspects that make organizations really amazing. The purpose is to understand what drives leaders to their own workplaces so that we can delve deeper into the corporate philosophy and share with you path breaking ideas. Ideas that come straight from people who have gone ahead and changed their workplace to make them better, more inviting, and extremely thriving for their own people. Our guest on the show today has 16 plus years of corporate experience in banking. She is an author of two academic books. She is a PhD in management and a triple gold medalist in MBA. Amongst her many achievements, she has been recognized as the 101 top global training and development minds conferred by the Economic Times, ET Now, and World HRD Congress in Feb 2019. She has also been selected as expert professional speaker by India Speakers Bureau, along with famous influencers and thought leaders like Dr. Marshall Goldsmith, Robin Sharma, Chetan Bhagat, and Harsha Bhogle, and has also been a TEDx speaker where she has spoken on the theme of legacy and leadership in April 2018. Let me present to you Dr. Jasmine Gupta, National Head, Virtual Digital Phygital Bank at Equitas Small Finance Bank. An alumni of IIM Ahmedabad, she is a top performing banker who has been awarded for her achievements at international conventions in Australia, Switzerland, and Thailand. She has represented India as youth ambassador at the Global Leo at Chicago, USA. She has also been a cultural ambassador to Osaka, Japan under the Indo Japan Student Exchange Program. Welcome, Jasmine. It's a pleasure to have you on our show Point of View today. I'm really so excited to have you on the show.
So, hi Ekta, thanks for inviting me. I look forward to a great conversation with you today.
Thank you, Jasmine. Even I'm looking forward to this conversation today. I'm really so excited to have you on the show. So, Jasmine, you have many accolades and achievements to your credit in your 16 plus years of career. What are the workplace experiences that have impacted you the most in your career journey?
So, Ekta, well, there were many workplace experiences, but if I have to point out some two or three most significant ones, I would say I had great exposure to some great mentors. So, when I started my career with HDFC Bank, as a fresher with no experience, no exposure of corporate life, um, the mentors helped me groom myself. They gave me the best advice, which I remember even 10 years, 15 years down the line, and still that advice remains relevant. So I think mentorship matters a lot in an organizational setup where leaders who mentor employees play a very important role in their career development.
Right.
That's one. Second thing, I think I was very lucky that I got organizations which allowed me to make mistakes. And I can say I made lots of mistakes. So while I have a long list of achievements, I have a much longer list of failures, which is something, well, it's not listed down, but then that exists. So I think organizations need to give that flexibility to the employees to make mistakes, to unlearn, to learn continuously, because only then people grow. Only then they can, contribute fearlessly to the growth of the organization. So that's very important. And the third thing that I would want to point out is, you know, it's not just the rewards, the monetary rewards that you give to the employees. It's also the recognition, the appreciative culture that helps the employee keep himself or herself motivated and perform better. Because not all people work for money. People have different motivations to come to work. And I think it's very important when organizations understand the motivations behind each person, because every person is a story and every person will have a stronger motivation behind that story. So once that is identified, I think people can be, motivated to give their best. And when everyone starts giving their best based on their motivations, I think it can be a wonderful organization. So that is one thing. And second thing, I think flexibility matters the most. For example, in my career, I changed multiple roles. And I think it was great for the organizations that I worked in to allow me to take up multiple roles, to give opportunity to employees to take up different roles, to make mistakes, to keep learning, to give that flexibility is most important. And I think I was lucky enough that not only HDFC Bank but even Kotak Mahindra Bank, I changed multiple roles. So from operations to business and sales to branch leadership, to learning and development, to digital adoption, to digital banking. I've changed multiple roles over 16 years, and I'm very happy because nothing has been monotonous in my career. And that's what, makes me look forward to go to work every day.
Awesome. Thanks, Jasmine. In fact, you've outlined some very important points, the 4 points that you highlighted: mentorship, flexibility, appreciation, and the ability to make mistakes and learn from them. All these four are pretty important in in anybody's career journey, and every organization should understand the importance of providing these as a part of their culture package, basically. So, Jasmine, you have made major contributions in the learning and development space through your trainings, learning modules, research papers, etc. You've also been instrumental in facilitating leadership trainings extensively. According to you, what is the role of learning and development in an employee's career life cycle, and how does it impact overall growth of an employee?
So, of course, learning and development plays a very important role. Again, I would like to quote from my own career journey, my own experiences. So, when I joined HDFC Bank, I had gone through an extensive 2-month training program in Delhi before I was actually allowed to, start working in a live customer environment. And those 2 months were rigorous trainings. So, from A to Z of banking, we were exposed to. We were taken on tours to, branch visits, operations areas, head office, how, the different departments work. So it was a practical come theoretical training, a full-fledged training that prepares one for the next step into banking. And that's when I realized that, without training, if I would have started, um, it would have been very difficult for any employee to pick up, because when I landed up at the workplace, it was very easy for me to understand the jargons. I mean, I was new to banking. I didn't know, I didn't understand anything. But that's something which actually prepared me for everything that I wanted to do and know and learn for my role. So I think training and learning and development is most critical, and it needs to be done at the right time. So many times we see people who join organizations 6 months, 7 months, 10 months, but they don't receive the training that they are required to do their job well. And that's when people start struggling. That's when attrition happens. So I think the first exposure to the company's values and mission, vision, along with what is critical for doing that particular job role well, is very, very critical. Also, there is a limitation to classroom learning. So, the 70-20-10 principle, they say, where 70% of the learning happens actually at the workplace when you are doing the things, 20% is what you learn from your colleagues and, from your peers. And 10% is actually what you learn and take back through a formal classroom session. And I think it matters and is most relevant even today. So it is now a challenge for the L&D unit to ensure that learning continues even after the employee has already joined the workplace. It also needs to ensure as to, there's lots of tacit knowledge that lies within the employees of the organization, which any new employee would, learn and gather and then apply during his work. So how to, make use of this tacit knowledge that lives within the employees, which is based on experience, day to day experience. So it's a revolutionary, I think, knowledge management that needs to happen at an organizational level, which can allow an organization not just to impart formal learning, but also to make use of the overall organizational knowledge that is available. So I think that's where I think most of the organizations are still struggling to find an answer as to what would be the best way to take it forward. And I think many a times at senior leadership positions, um, even now, for us, when I am working in the digital banking space, I think I need to know and learn a lot more. And that's why I just, got into a learning development program where I wanted to learn more about fintechs and how they work, the business model, strategy, and all, right? And again, I would say it's great that my organization allows me to invest in me so that I can go out and get the knowledge that I need to do my job with. So I think there are various methods of learning that are available or that can be made available to the employees at at various levels. So for leadership programs, obviously the needs are going to be very, very different, and that's where maybe the organization itself may not have the expertise and they may have to go out and borrow that knowledge. So those are, I think, two three important points that I would like to make in terms of learning and development. I think it's a vast subject and I can go on for hours, but that's how I like to keep it crisp for your answer right now.
Right. Okay, thank you, Jasmine, for this one. So, coming to your current role, Jasmine, in your current role, you handle virtual or digital bank right now. So, what kind of a shift do you see in the way workspaces are evolving or shall evolve in the coming future? Yeah.
So I think digitalization has disrupted workplaces as well. And the traditional workplaces where, people were supposed to go to offices to get their work done. Work used to be done only in a physical infrastructure setup. I think those things are changing. The way we have digital banking, wherein people can sit at home and do their banking. I think even the workplaces are becoming digital. People are doing work from home, as we are aware of. And I think maybe going forward, that can be a long term strategy for most of the organizations as well. As far as the changing of workplaces is concerned, I think the model is changing from, I would say, it is shifting towards an intrapreneurship model, wherein employees get the opportunity to create new things which did not exist earlier, innovate, work on new ideas,
Yeah.
and try out different things, of course fail and keep attempting, changing, because the dynamics are such that the industry is changing so fast that we have to keep on changing with the dynamics of the industry. So the requirements that the workplaces now have is is extremely different. Even the skills that we look at are very, very different. There are also digital skills that have got added. There are also skills related to, whether uh, the person can bring in new thoughts, new ideas. The person can be an entrepreneur within the organization. Can the person manage as the CEO of that region or branch or zone or a bank or a department. So that's the skills I think that are most required going forward, and that's where I think organizations need to do a lot of upskilling also going forward, because that's not something that is readily available, or that's not something that is being taught in management schools right now. So that's something where I think organizations will have to take the step forward to groom people to become entrepreneurs within the organization. I would put it that way.
So that's a very interesting point that you actually brought forward. So primarily, what we see here is basically leadership skills plus the multiple skills that a person would require to even start his own business. Yeah. So interesting. I think that's a pretty interesting thing that's come across from here, and definitely we don't hear about it very frequently as of now. But I'm sure that since you have raised this point, a lot of people will also start. More people will start thinking and talking about it. Okay, okay, Jasmine. So tell me one thing. As employees work remotely, we just mentioned, you raised this point about more and more organizations opting to work from home, which is definitely, everybody knows that it's the truth right now. So, as employees work remotely, does it impact their learning process? And how can organizations ensure that learning and development and growth of employees continues seamlessly even as they work remotely?
So if you ask me, with remote work, learning has not stopped at all.
Right.
And learning is the last thing that has got adversely impacted. The reason is virtual learning has become a norm. So all the Zoom courses and all the learning on the go virtual setup is something that has become the norm. So I think that way learning has in fact evolved. Maybe till the time COVID exists, this will continue. But as a long-term strategy, maybe I think classrooms will come back, because classrooms have their own charm. They have their own learning experience, which of course cannot be replaced through any virtual medium. So that's one thing. However, having said that, um, classrooms will have its own limitations as well. So even if we look at long term for the next 10 years, I think most of the learning will go digital. And by digital, we mean not just the virtual classrooms. Digital means providing learning at the point of work, providing learning at the point of sale. And so we have the mobile learning apps now. Even organizations have their own apps where they put all the relevant information and knowledge that their employees need on the app, and making it available for any employee based on the performance, based on the learning and the performance gaps, making it available at the right point of time and at the right point of sale, where the employee learns it and immediately gets to apply that learning in the work when it is required. I think that's how the entire game is going to change. So, analytics based learning is going to be the norm going forward. Artificial intelligence based learning is going to be the norm going forward, because then you have, preemptive learning. So, for example, Jasmine needs a particular she has a particular learning requirement which has come out of her analytics performance data, and there cannot be one size fit all going forward. Maybe Jasmine learns through videos because she is a person who learns fastest when she is learning through the videos. Maybe Ekta is a person who learns through graphics, or maybe Ekta is a person who learns through reading. So there could be various modes of learning, and every person's learning choices can be very different. So how do we adapt learning to each person's requirement based on the performance? So those are the things that are going to come up, and I think technology is going to play a very important role here. Even chatbots, for example. So, uh, Chatbots will also become an important learning tool. So they cannot have all the answers to all the questions that people keep on asking them for their particular job. So if they have access to chatbots, they can immediately learn then and there, and service customers or service on the call. So all of those things are possible. So learning is not going to be just a classroom learning any longer. With chatbots, analytics, artificial intelligence, and mobile learning, I think it's the space that is completely disrupted. And next 10 years are going to be extremely interesting, because the new generation, after millennials, the Gen Z that's coming in, is these are all digi savvy generations. They're growing up with technology.
Right.
So that's how I think they will want learning to happen. It's not about organizations' choice of how they want to offer learning. I think it's the generations that are going to demand the learning the digital way going forward. So I think lots of changes, and interesting and good positive changes, I think we will see in the workplaces.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you so much for coming on the platform and giving us your views about such important aspects about learning and development, and how learning and development is going to uh, evolve in the coming times. Thank you so much once again. It was a pleasure having you on Point of View. Thank you.
Thanks, Ekta. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and best of luck for the amazing work that you are doing for the amazing workplaces.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Subscribe to our channel for latest updates on leadership interviews, webinars and educative videos related to human resources, learning and development, culture, employee engagement, and many more.